All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm CB Harris. I'm here at Warrior's Edge Armory with Yoki Marks. And today we're going to head out to the range and we're going to do some tests. And we're still continuing our series on home invasion that we've been running all throughout April. And this is our final episode for April. It's actually been a pretty good month. I think we've got some good information out here. I know I actually learned quite a few things as far as home invasion and self-defense and home defense. So tell us exactly what we're going to be testing and how this test is going to work.
A lot of people test ammo and they shoot into a target, into ballistics gel, or there's a million tests out there. But what we wanted to do is to look at a little more of a real world situation. And so we got 1/2-inch drywall, 2x4s, and basically I made a small 2x4 wall, about 1 foot by 1 foot. That way, a front and back drywall, no insulation inside, and then four feet beyond that, we put a gallon jug of water.
Okay.
Now, what we wanted to test is this. I'm going to test if you shot at someone in your house and, heaven forbid, you miss, what will happen when that round hits the drywall, passes through the other side of the drywall, and then if there is someone or something on the other side. Do any of these rounds expand in drywall? Do they break apart? We took a number of rounds out there, some 115 grain Barnes, some Civil Liberty ammunition, which is a lightweight, high velocity round, Hydroshock, some Full Metal Jacket, and some Federal Guard Dog as well.
Right.
And then what we did is we decided to see what happens when we shoot through all those.
Right. And I think this is kind of this is a worst case scenario. I mean, we would hope that, there's going to be more layers of drywall in there, or we're going to be, shooting into a safe backstop, or we're going to have a lot more distance. If we're going to be hitting drywall, what is the worst case scenario? And this is what we went with. A very short distance between that drywall and the shooter, correct?
Correct. From the shooter to the drywall, we're looking at about 4 yards. So roughly from the tip of the gun to the drywall, looking at about 3 yards. And then again, about 4 feet beyond that to where we have the water jug placed.
So come with us out to the range. We're going to take some of these shots, and we'll come back and we're going to explain what exactly happened, and we'll talk about it.
9mm Barnes, 115 grain hollow point. Have the Hydroshock, 135 grain. Eyes and ears. The Liberty Defense, 9mm.
The Hornady Slug SST. Liberty Defense 45 ammo.
20-inch barrel. We'll take the suppressor off. Just change the velocity of the round.
Eyes there.
Yep, eyes and ears are on.
Guard Dog 45. Try to hit it this time. Eyes and ears.
55 grain, Full Metal Jacket, 5.56. plus P, 9mm.
This is standard number 8 bird shot.
Oh, 12 gauge.
Tin grain, the hyper clean. They're in a blackout. There's
Full metal jacket, 124 grain.
Okay.
quarter day tap. 45 zombie round. Oh. Liberty round, 45 caliber. Engineers.
Engineered. Barnes, 115 grain, 9mm.
This is standard FMJ 308.
Okay, so we're back from the range and we got those tests, and I'll be honest with you, I was disappointed, and I definitely, it taught me some things. It scared me a little bit in that it wasn't as effective as I thought it was going to be. I guess that brings a lot of things to mind, though, as far as ammunition companies go.
Yeah, I had high hopes for some of these rounds just because of the way they were designed. Now, granted, none of these manufacturers actually went out and said, this will break apart in drywall. But I was hoping that some of these rounds would expand or fragment at least a little bit within the space in between the drywall and maybe into the water jug as well.
Right. Now, the Liberty, it did fragment, but it still also destroyed the water jug. Now, obviously, a water jug is not a perfect, stand-in for a human body. So, would it have penetrated a human body? We honestly, we don't know. That wasn't what the test was. It had to do with the drywall. And then,
correct.
But the Liberty did do kind of what they claim it would do, but a lot of the other ones really disappointed me. Honestly, I like the guard dog ammunition because of the feeding and stuff, but I was a little disappointed. It didn't really mushroom out like I thought it was going to, hitting that drywall.
Yeah.
I don't know if it just wasn't a hard enough medium for it to flatten out like it's supposed to. I don't know.
Yeah, and like I said, and there may be people watching right now who have all the answers. Post them below.
Definitely.
We didn't see expansion within there.
Right, and it just immediately just plugged up that cavity.
Yes.
And now it's essentially acted like a full metal jacket because it's now a solid projectile again.
It makes it a solid projectile. And here we have the Barnes, and this is how I pulled it out of the drywall.
This up here, so you guys see that.
And it literally, I didn't shape or form this after. It came out with a little cone of drywall across the top.
Yeah.
Perfectly formed, no expansion.
Not just flat off the top. I mean, it actually domed up over it.
Yeah, it domed up over it. Again, the point of these tests were not to see how the rounds fragmented in a human body.
Right.
If they expanded in flesh. There are plenty of tests out there to show that.
These were with safety against drywall.
Yeah.
And whether or not it was going to punch through and if we had to worry about that.
Yeah. And I knew drywall would not stop a round. That's not the point of the test either. The point is, will drywall disrupt the round enough to increase the likelihood of someone on the other side of the wall, a few feet from the wall, not being seriously injured? And honestly, as you stated, the water jug is not a perfect replication of human flesh.
Right.
Yet, these jugs exploded.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they started
Absolutely.
leaking a little bit.
Now, the birdshot it contained everything. I don't know if we got that really good on video. It did go in one side of the water jug, but none of it left the other side. So it was moving a lot slower at that point.
Correct.
But we're talking about birdshot here. Really, it was number 7, right? Is that what?
Yeah, number 7 birdshot, and it blew the jug apart. Yet a lot of that shot was contained within the water. I would not want to be standing on the other side of that wall to see how deep into my body the birdshot will go.
Definitely.
It came down to no round deformed, fragmented, or slowed down enough just through standard housing materials to make it safe for someone on the other side.
Right. Not until you got layers and layers of that drywall. A standard wall is drywall on either side, and
2x4 frame.
That was definitely not enough.
It's good to know that regardless of what rounds you have or what people have told you about these rounds, you need to aim small, miss small.
Absolutely.
Aim for a button, so if you miss by a ½ inch, you still get the bad guy.
Absolutely. I think that is the key takeaway for me anyway from this is you need to be very sure of your shots.
So you have to play that what if game now to say, if a bad guy comes here and I need to shoot, what direction am I shooting? What if someone's on the other side of that wall? Do that now, because it's true, in that moment, you don't have time to do all of this planning. You need to have your plan in place prior to pulling that trigger.
Right.
The great part is, after looking at these tests, it kind of leads into what we're talking about next month regarding different types of shooting sports and disciplines. Because if you can't spray toward the bad guy and know that your wall will catch all the rounds and everyone on the other side will be safe, then you probably need to get out to the range, do some training, and hopefully get as real world as possible in that training.
Absolutely. And I guess now is a good time as any to talk about let's talk about that. Next month, we're going to talk about how you can use different firearms competition as training. I believe that no matter what it is, even if it's bullseye shooting, which is very long amount of time, very precise shooting, you can still get something out of that. So a good training out of that will help you in a self-defense situation. So that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to talk about a few different things, right? Different types of competition and how that relates to protecting yourself in a self-defense situation.
Correct. There are plenty of shooting disciplines out there that people swear by. They love them for one reason or the other. And for every person you find who loves one of them, you're going to find another person who says, well, that's not valid. There's no value there. So as we launch next month's series, I want you all to keep an open mind. I'm not saying that every discipline and every part of every discipline is great. I'm saying that you need to have a mindset that says, what can I take away that can benefit my life in this area?
Absolutely. So be sure to come back next month. If you have any comments about the ammunition that we fired or questions about the test that we did, leave it down in the comments section. And if you're not a subscriber, be sure to click on the subscribe button. And until next time, take care of yourself.